Is weird, odd, strange, or just plain bizarre is really your cup of tea? Then the Golden State Media Concepts Weird News Podcast will give you that fix. Can't believe it? Well, listen for yourself as we deliver the strangest news you definitely won't find on CNN or Fox. It's the Golden State Media Concepts Weird News Podcast.
Thank you for tuning in to the GSMC Weird News Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I'm your host, Moog. How are all my weirdos this week? What has been going on? Tell me. As a reigning weirdo, I am well. I got vaccinated this week. You excited for me? Or do you think vaccinations are going to take over my mind? Okay, either way. I'm excited to get out more because now that I'm vaccinated, I can walk down the street and potentially be safer. Maybe, maybe not. But I'm looking forward to it. And I don't want to hear your opinions about it because that's my choice. All right. Well, we have a great show for you today. We're going to talk about Florida woman. A lot of you know about Florida man. But today, we're going to see what these Florida women are up to. Last episode, we went down some really interesting headlines of Florida man, the famous Florida man we all know about. And today, I want to try talking about Florida woman. What's she up to? We're going to talk about the Suez Canal because, of course, actually it's old news at this point, but we still have to talk about it. It happened. It happened, people. And we're going to talk about the stupidest thing you've ever thought, the stupidest thought that's ever gone through your head. I love talking about my favorite TikToks, the weird stuff you learn on there. Of course, you're going to get a bonus ASMR from me to you with love. And of course, we're going to talk to my Australian Google Assistant and have her Google some stuff for us, because that's how we do. Let's get started with what's the stupidest thing you've ever thought, and I'll go first. All right, so this is real. I was opening a package with some scissors, and I, honest to goddess, thought, how did cavemen open their packages without scissors? This is so hard. I can't do it without scissors. What did they use, like a rock? It's just not the same. You know, to go around the edges with a rock. I mean, I guess it's slow going, but you could do it. So yeah, for real, for really, really, really real. I thought, how did cavemen open their packages without scissors? That happened. Okay. So I put this question out there on some social media platforms, and I did get some answers back. One answer from Erin, last initial D. Erin met up with an old ex. They hadn't seen each other in about 2 years. She met up with him. They're having a chit-chat, and he tells her that he has a daughter, and he tells her how old the daughter is. And this person, Erin, my dear friend Erin, really did the math in her head and wondered, oh my God, is it my child? Could it be mine? Let me do this. Okay, 9 months minus this plus that, and how old is the child? Okay, this really happened, and I love it. I love this story. She did the math to see if maybe the baby was hers. I love you, Erin. All right. That's inexcusable, Erin. It's inexcusable. Now, for a gentleman to have such a moment, a pause, and a math in the head, that's understandable. It is not understandable when a woman does it. And that's why I love Erin. Thank you. Thank you for this moment. Thank you for... I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one who has inexcusably stupid thoughts. Another thought I had one time, I was very far away from home, and I have a garage that I park in, like, you know, a normal garage. You have a little button in your car to open the garage door, then you drive into the garage. I was very far away from home, which in this case, you only need to be like 300 yards away from home. But I accidentally pushed my garage door button when I was like driving down the highway or whatever. And I panicked for a moment, being like, oh no, I just opened my garage. Well, how do I know if it's opened or closed now? What do I do? And I really thought for a second that like 10 miles away from my home, I might have accidentally opened my garage because I was moving my visor and I pushed the button. And yeah, please tell me I'm not the only one that is this dumb. Please. I'm counting on you, weirdos. Weirdos, unite. I would love to hear your stories. You know, you want another one? Okay, because I'm feeling nice, I'll give you another one. This is someone responded on one of the social media pages. They don't know where anything is geographically in the world. And their stupidest thought, basically, is just anytime somebody mentions a geographical location, they have no idea where. They cannot imagine in their mind or in their brain, they cannot imagine where this location is. So if you're talking to them about like the Amazon, they literally might think, oh, that must be in Spain, that must be in Europe. Or if you're talking about Hawaii versus Belize or Greece, she literally doesn't know like what ocean that is. Like, oh, is the Hawaii Ocean the same ocean as like the Greece Ocean? Doesn't know, like literally doesn't know, and cannot get her brain around it. And she's just come to accept this about herself. So thank you for responding to my prompt. This was an Instagram prompt. And Winter, again, last name D. We'll just say D. They just happen to have the same last initial. So Winter D came at us with this one. You're a remarkable woman. You've made it this far. And you literally don't know if Antarctica is next to Greenland. You don't know. You literally don't know. Like, you think polar bears and penguins could maybe hang out. And I love you for that. And frankly, I don't see how it's any different than thinking that my garage door opener can open my garage door from 10 miles away. Frankly, there's no difference. With the level of cluelessness, I mean, okay, the only difference might be that I had a moment of lapse, and I think you're just signing up for the permanent lapse. And you know what? That's okay. That's okay, Winter. Don't let anyone tell you that you're deficient, because you might not know where polar bears and penguins hang out, but you do know a lot of other stuff, like how to do your eyeshadow really beautifully. Yeah, that's true. Now, I don't want to sound superficial. I'm not trying to, minimize you. But it is absolutely true that everyone on this earth has a lot of amazing qualities. And if you don't know where Hawaii is, it's okay. Because you probably know how to make like a really mean vegan tofu scramble. Probably. And I don't. I could look it up. I'd need a lot of hand holding. That's okay. And our last stupidest thought I've ever had comes from another person with the last initial D. I can't even make this stuff up. Robert D. writes in that he worked in a restaurant and he was fiddling with a soap dispenser. Couldn't get it to work or whatever was happening with this soap dispenser. And finally, he pushes it in just the right way, gets it to work, and at the same exact moment, the fire alarm goes off. So he goes running into whatever other area, into the kitchen, apologizing, trying to explain, like, oh no, I set the alarm off, I'm sorry. Like, for a real moment, thinking that the soap dispenser, the way he pushed it in the exact moment, must have set the fire alarm off. That is dumb. You are dumb, you are dumb, you are very, very dumb. I don't think that's a very nice song to sing, Moog. We sang it anyway, didn't we? So, but I'm dumb too. We all have our moments. I did have a moment where I actually did set a fire alarm off. It was my freshman year of college back in 1973. And I was making microwave popcorn. And for some stupid reason, I took the popcorn out when it was done. and I opened it, and I don't know what possessed me, but I like held the bag above my head high, and I was like, oh my, so it's so steamy. Let me release this steam. And I apparently released all this steam right underneath a fire alarm. And the fire alarm was pretty sure that the building was on fire. And like everyone was evacuated. Everyone had to leave and stand out in the snow literally more than an hour. And they found out which fire alarm had reacted, and that it was the fire alarm right in my area, right in my dorm room area. And they kept asking me and my roommate, like, what it was going on in there? Why did it think it was a fire in there? And I'm just, I don't know. I was just eating popcorn. And then as they're talking to me, and as I'm realizing, I literally set the fire alarm off because of the steam in my popcorn bag. That's for real. And that's how dumb I can be. I do not think I'm showcasing myself well today because I am giving a lot of examples of where I might have not been the smartest. But just know they're just moments. And if I happen to have moment after moment, all day long, nonstop, they're just moments. They're just moments. Yeah. I'm going to keep telling myself that. Now, I can't be the only one. What did you guys ever think? These are just thoughts. Now, I did give an example of something I did that was stupid, but the other ones were just thoughts. What are some of your thoughts? Can you think of something just offhand? Or does it take a real deep dive because you're kind of mostly just not stupid? Which would be great. Not as fun for me, though. Think of something. And once you think of that something, find us on all of the social medias. On Instagram, we are GSMC_weird. On the Twitter, we are GSMC_weird news. A little different. And on Facebook, you just gotta spell out the whole thing. Golden State Media Concepts, Weird News Podcast. Now, in terms of me, Moog, M to the double O-G, Moog, I do not represent Golden State Media Concepts on my individual social media platforms. That's just my stuff. If you do want to find me, I have the name of my clown. I'm a comedian and I do very strange clown routines. And you can find me under my clown name on Instagram at GoCamelToe, spelled out like you think, or on TikTok at GoCamelToe, but the toe is spelled out T-O-W. They wouldn't let me have a T-O-E. How rude. I guess they decided that it was foul or something, but I mean, that's just my clown's name. Innocent little debaucherous little clown named Camel Toe. I just don't understand the problem, people. I am weird. And I hope all of you are too. Because that's why we're all here today. We're listening to the Weird News Podcast. And I bet you're thinking, Moog, we're not weirdos. And you're not supposed to be weird. What you're supposed to do is tell us some weird news. Those two things are not the same thing. Well, lucky for me, I won't listen to reason. And I'm pretty sure you're all weirdos. And I'm really sure that I'm a weirdo. And I'm ever more sure that we're all here to get weird together. And learn about some weird stuff. It all connects. It's going to be fine. We have a lot more planned for you today on the Weird News Podcast. Lucky you. So stick around. We're about to do TikTok Toe. And maybe you should help me out with that name because I can't decide if I want to call it TikTok Talk, TikTok Toe, TikTok Time, TikTok Time, TikTok O'Clock. That's a good one. But I'm sure this has been done before. I don't know that it's been done before, but I'm sure it has. So, again, reach out to us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Tell us what you think. If you have anything rude to say, I don't know what you're talking about. Keep it to yourself. Go tell your mother. I don't know. But we do want to hear your opinions if they're nice ones. Only nice opinions matter. I try to tell myself that as a person who's been working in these performance mediums for a long time. I just say, if they don't like you, it's on them. If they do like you, they're a genius. I don't know if that's true, but I think it's the best option for mental health, and just to leave it that way. I recommend this approach to all of you. I don't think I should be in charge of recommending any kind of advice, but here I am on the Weird News Podcast. And I'll be right back after this with some tic-tac-toe.
Are you tired of the same old news? Are you sick of the seemingly endless political spin and negativity? The GSMC America Still Beautiful podcast is a weekly news podcast covering all the top positive and uplifting news stories. We cover stories that will inspire, uplift, and remind you of the good in the world. Tune into the Golden State Media Concepts America Still Beautiful podcast to get all the great and positive news stories of today. Download the GSMC America Still Beautiful podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar.
And welcome back to the GSMC Weird News Podcast. I'm your host, Moog. So we're going to be talking about tic-tac-toe, or whatever we're going to call it in the future. So the first TikTok up is some historical facts, brought to you by user Goddess Complex Pod.
The insane life of Julie Daubeny, the 17th century sword-fighting bisexual opera singer. She scandalized France by cross-dressing like a man and fencing, which she was so good at that once a man she beat refused to believe she was a woman, so she ripped off her top and asked the audience to judge for themselves. She became a star of the Paris Opera, but that didn't stop her from fighting in duels where she killed at least 10 men. At one point, she had a death warrant out for her, but the king found her so entertaining, he pardoned her. She also loved to seduce women. She once took vows to enter a convent just so she could have sex with one of the nuns before she burnt the whole convent down.
Wow. Now that is a lot to unpack. Oh my gosh. Where do I even start? Okay, so she was cross-dresser. She did fencing. She took her shirt off in public and showed the world her goods. She seduced women. She burnt down a convent. She was supposed to be executed and charmed the king out of executing her. I've just made up a word when you're excused from being executed. It's being called excusing. This is an impressive person. Not bad, Julie Daubeny. Oh, you know what we could do? We could ask my friend Google. She can hear us, so we can't say it too loud. Hey, Google, tell me about Julie Daubeny.
According to Wikipedia, Julie Daubeny, better known as Mademoiselle Maupin or La Maupin, was a 17th century opera singer. Little is known for certain about her life, her tumultuous career and flamboyant lifestyle with her.
That's all you have to say, Google?
Hi, Moog.
Oh, hi. Well, have we learned one thing from Google? We learned that her name is actually Julie Daubeny, I believe, which does not sound nearly as French as I thought it was. Hey Google, how do you pronounce Julie Daubeny?
That's pronounced Julie Daubeny.
Okay, I swear I'm not crazy. She said Daubeny. Okay, she said it. You heard it, I heard it. The American weirdos heard it. What is going on? It could just be a simple case of her repeating what I said, right? But last time I said it, you know what? I'm not going to get fixated on this because I will never sleep again until I get the answer, if I fixate on this. So we're not going to. So Julie, you were a force. You were a force. And I'm not mad about it. I mean, maybe the convent you burnt down is mad about it. King doesn't sound that mad about it. I don't even know what to say about this. Well-behaved women rarely make history. I could say that about it. Because that'd be pretty true in this case. You know, there were like a lot of other women at that time that we don't know anything about because they were just like at the convent praying, not burning it down. So, losers. Do I need to say that? That's a joke. Oh, I'm going to get fired. Oh my God. So wrapping up Julie Daubeny. And then she had some other nickname like Mademoiselle de Tout le Monde or something. I don't know. What's my favorite part about her? What's your favorite part about her? Cross-dressing, fencing, opera singing. I think that's it. I think that it's just so random. It's so random that I can't even wrap my brain around it. and I love it. She was so many things, but also an opera singer. Like, can I be like a podcast host and a cross-dresser and an opera singer? Like, can I do all those things, please? I hope saying cross-dresser isn't problematic. Is it? I think it's okay. In this particular case, I think if you call many people today that, it's missing the mark quite a bit. I don't know. I don't have enough information about this to know what she was about, you know, but you can tell I'm worried. You can tell I'm worried. These are not my words. I want to put that out there. These are not my words. The TikTok said it, as if there's never been a problematic TikTok. Come on, Moog, get yourself together. I think this is a great time to move on. Let us move on to the next TikTok of TikTok-toe. From user Abby_Jean, we have one of the most fun trends on TikTok called Things I Don't Understand, where people just list random things that are not weird at all, like coffee, and they explain why it makes no sense. So let's get into it.
Here's a list of things I don't understand. Pictures. How does it? I don't get it. It captures a moment and then you print it out. That is the craziest thing I've ever heard in my life. Accents. How come I can say hello and someone else says hello? Taste buds. Why does everybody taste things differently? Some people are like, ew, ketchup, disgusting, ranch dressing, what? I want to bathe in it. Teeth. How come it's the only bone that we have to like brush and take care of, and if you don't, they turn yellow and fall out? That's weird. Names. You become your name wholeheartedly, and I don't understand that. Like, if you're a Stephanie, I'm so sorry, but you're the worst. Wind. It just like blows. It's blowing in the air that we're just like in. That makes no sense, and it can blow shit. No, I hate it.
That is so stupid and good. I love it. Could you hear all that background noise? She was literally listening to some episode of Kardashian something while doing this list. This woman's out of control. Once again, love her. I'm a fan. She doesn't understand teeth. That is such a great point about teeth. It is the only bone in the body. It's a bone, right? That, like, you know, turns yellow and dies if you don't take care of it. I guess it's the only real exposed bone, so that's an easy answer, but I love it. I just love that she doesn't understand teeth. And wind. I personally don't love wind. I know it does things and it helps our world in some way. What would sailors do without wind? I don't know. I get it. Climate systems have to move around the world with wind, and probably seeds and birds need wind, and all that stuff needs wind. But I can't explain it. I don't like the feeling of wind. I don't. I think the only time I can handle the feeling of wind is if I'm like way hot, like super, super overheated hot. Other than that, like any tiny breeze of wind, and I'm like, no, thank you, I can't. I just can't. So, I mean, yeah, it's so true. It's so true. I love these. Why can she say hello and someone else says hello and it's the same word? Why? Why is hello and hello the same word? Why? Explain. It's not. It's like a different language, but yet we understand it. You know what? Abby_Jean, you aren't wrong. You ain't wrong. So that is a fun one. What are some things you guys don't understand? Let me think if I can come up with something I don't understand. I saw another one of these once, and they said, what I don't understand is humans go out and find like a really, really cool rock or a gem, and then they give it to another human. They're like, here, I found this rock for you. And the other person's like, whoa, a rock. And they give each other gems and trinkets. It's weird, but it's also so normal. But it really is weird. I think if you put it in context, like if you saw a caveman give another cave person like a little rock, you'd be like, dude, that's not okay. Have fun giving each other little rocks. You can pretend that means something. That's cute. But then that's us. That's us. We're doing it. Yeah. Okay. Now, I can't think of my own thing. What's my own thing where I just don't understand people? I guess subtext is one thing. Why do we have subtext? I mean, why didn't we evolve in a way where we can just handle direct speaking? We've evolved in a way where, like, every single sentence out of every person's mouth is essentially rife with subtext. And I understand it's for a certain amount of politeness, but, like, isn't it a better option to just evolve to just be able to be straightforward with each other and not need such a level of politeness that literally every sentence you say is full of subtext? Anyone? Just me? Can I give an example? I don't know. I guess some easy examples would be like, well, I guess that's sarcasm. If you're like, wow, that was nice. We are really saying that was mean, but that's sarcasm. Okay, what's an example? Oh, I just have a lot going on. I have a lot going on. It could just mean so many other things. It could mean I'm really busy. It can mean I'm really sad. It can mean my sister, my boss, my children, someone has been mean to me all week, or I don't want to hear from you. I don't value your friendship and don't want to text you back. It can mean so many things, but instead we just go, oh, I have a lot going on. Instead of just saying the thing, I have a lot going on is kind of the thing, but not really the thing. This is a bad example, you guys. Help me, you weirdos. Ooh, okay. How about this one? If you ask someone, which directions did you take to get here? You could really be asking, why are you so late? Or you could be saying, you could really asking, are you good at directions, or you kind of go the stupid way? You could be asking, do you know the best way to go? You could be asking, did you drive by that liquor store and pick up a fifth of whiskey like I think you did? You could be asking a lot of things. So I don't know if that's a good example, but given more time, I remember having this conversation with somebody one time, and I broke down every sentence we had already just said to each other, and I said, this sentence really means this, and they were like blown away, and I'm like, yeah, everything has subtext, literally every sentence, not just some, every single one, and that's just how we've evolved to talk. And golly jeepers, it's a waste of time, isn't it? I don't know. Well, that was fun. Let's move on. Our final tic-tac-toe entry from Whippet_Angel. I feel like some of these names at some point I'm not even going to be allowed to say, but for now, Whippet_Angel has this to say. Listen closely, it's some really smart stuff.
Hey ladies, if your man is large, reliable, low maintenance, and white, that's not your man. That is a Subaru Outback. Just thought you should know.
Oh my god, thank you so much. That is, see, it's not a visual medium, but he does eventually just pan out and show you his car or someone's car. And I mean, thank you. I'm feeling so blessed for this information. So if I'm on a date and he's really, oh, you're so reliable, you're so dependable, you're so large, and also white, I'm actually on a date with a Subaru Outback, and that is something I need to be careful about. We all need to be careful about it. His car does happen to be white, so I think, I mean, this could go for like, you know, reliable, dependable, large purple, reliable, dependable, large green. You are, I think, still in all of those cases on a date with a Subaru Outback, and that's not your man. So thank you. It's without these pioneers that we would be still in the dark. Think of where we would be without Aristotle, Michelangelo, Archimedes, Michael Jordan. Where would we be without these real visionaries, these truth tellers, the people who give us a new way to see our world? And I thank you all. Now, because I spoil you, the time for our weekly ASMR delight has arrived. May I present to you drinking iced coffee. That is Moog drinking iced coffee. If you find that absolutely repulsive, I'm sorry. I probably won't stop. But you did get a warning. If you find it delightful, tell me what other sounds you'd like to hear. Cracking a peanut. High-fiving my dog. Scratching my head deep in thought. Thank you for doing all that TikTok fun with me. I just happen to be one of those people who loves some TikTok, a lot of information. And we will be back with some Florida woman headlines and facts. Stay tuned.
The GSMC Life and Happiness podcast takes you on a journey of exploration. We'll discuss tried and true methods alongside the latest trends of how to best live your life to its fullest and happiest. From psychology to meditation, science to self-help books, the GSMC Life and Happiness podcast will help you to discover what makes you happy and how you can live life being the best you possible. Download the GSMC Life and Happiness podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar.
And welcome back to the Weird News Podcast on the GSMC Weird News Podcast Network. I'm your host, Moog. So I talked about Florida Man last week, and I think it's time to reach outside of the bounds of what we're used to hearing. We're used to hearing about Florida Man, and I'm ready for something different. So this week we're going to talk about Florida Woman. And I'm not trying to even the playing field, and I'm not trying to say that genders and sexes are, equally to blame for everything. All I'm saying is let's do something different. That's all I'm saying. And I think next week we might say California Man. Or you might say Alaska Woman. I'm just interested in getting outside of the Florida Man box because I love the Florida Man box. And I'm sorry if you're listening to this from Florida, but your state is full of hijinks. And I'm sorry, but we do laugh at that hijinks because it is really funny. Well, I guess when people are getting hurt, it's not funny. But when people are just acting a fool and a little bit out of control and get themselves into trouble, that is a little bit funny. I'm trying to be nice about this, Florida. I'm trying really hard to be nice about this. You a silly state, okay? And, most of the states are silly states. I can't name a state that's not silly. Okay, Delaware. That's it. That's all we got. So, I've been looking for, how am I going to find some Florida Woman news? And I took the easy way out. I found a listicle on filmdaily.co. And basically, it says, Step Aside Florida Man, all the best Florida women headlines. And over the years, we have witnessed the evolution of Florida Man, as I said. He has become a meme god, truly. And we've overlooked the greatest contender for the throne, probably even one of the more powerful and outrageous people, is the mighty Florida Woman. Yes, Florida Woman has been kept silent too long, as she broods in Walmart parking lots and drunkenly berates the staff at Arby's. Her disorderly deeds have been great indeed, and so now we present them to you, and you can decide which contender rules supreme. Behold, the greatest Florida Woman headlines. Ooh, I'll even use my newscaster voice for you. Florida woman jailed for calling 911 because her boyfriend wasn't being nice. Okay, I'm pretty sure I can do better than that, but that's not the point. It continues. She won't take it lying down. Florida woman will ruin you for getting her wrong flavor of Mountain Dew from the gas station, so you better be on your best behavior. Oh, yes, ma'am, I will be. Next. Florida woman drunkenly bites man's fishing line, swims away with lure, police say. A resourceful queen. A worm can be as tasty as a taquito if you have the right attitude. Florida woman drops pants, licks man, dances naked in Waffle House parking lot. And that one says she is also a multitasker. She was simply performing the mating ritual of her people. Wow. I mean, I don't know if anything good happens at a Waffle House. Obviously, waffles happen. But in terms of the clientele, I think this is the clientele. I think this is them. Here they are, represented by one Florida woman. Am I generalizing? Yes. Am I just trying to be funny? Yes. Moving on. A Florida woman has been accused of taking methamphetamine and driving a motorized shopping cart through a Walmart while drinking wine and eating sushi and cinnamon rolls. I mean, living large? Honestly, that just sounds like a good time. That's what the headline says. Honestly, this sounds like a good time. Well, it's a listicle. It's not the headline. The first part is the headline, and the second part is the listicle's opinion. So, yeah, I just can't agree more. It honestly just sounds like a good time. And I think the methamphetamine might be the problem, but driving a motorized shopping cart through a Walmart while drinking wine and eating sushi and cinnamon rolls, like, as long as you pay for it, is it really that big of a problem? Like, chill out, America. Let the woman live her best life. I mean, as long as she's not disturbing people, running them over, dropping wine bottles on toddlers' heads. It seems like, okay, all right, okay. She was doing meth. Okay, that's fine. She was doing meth. Moving on. Florida woman blames cocaine in purse on windy day. She's quoted as saying, "I don't know anything about cocaine. It's a windy day. It must have flown through the window and into my purse." And the listicle says, "It's science, B-word. Don't argue with Florida woman about science. One time she watched a documentary on how Twinkies were made. She clearly understands science, the physics of wind. We were just talking about wind. The physics of wind are only for the true geniuses to understand, like this woman. Her name is Kanisha, and we're just going to trust her. It sounds like she knows what she's talking about." Florida woman attacks brother with chicken nuggets. Florida woman doesn't argue with you about chicken nuggets anymore. She just messes you up with them. Yeah, I think I commend her for not choosing a more fatal device. I commend her for that. My first instinct was like, girl, just choose a better device, a better weapon. But then I thought, no. This woman deserves our gratitude for not creating another potentially fatal incident. So well done. And when someone comes at you with that look in their eye, wielding chicken nuggets, you still know they are just as serious. In fact, they might be more serious because this is a true crime of passion. You're not planning it out. You're not thinking ahead. You are grabbing the closest item to your body. And therefore, I think this crime should be taken more seriously as a threat. Like, watch out, brother. There's no doubt in your mind. This is for real, and I'm in trouble. Okay. Florida woman arrested after twerking on car. A woman in Gainesville, Florida was arrested after a noise complaint was filed against her for twerking on a car. Getting jiggy with it. Can a Florida woman not drop it like it's hot on a vehicle anymore? I mean, if the judge is like, hey, all we need for you is to not twerk on vehicles, and the woman says, like, I'm sorry, I can't do that. You just need to put me in jail because it's going to keep happening. I don't know who to be mad at. Our culture for creating a twerking addiction, the system for putting her away for doing what is natural to her, or I don't know. I don't know who to get mad at with this one. I want to be in a situation where a judge is like, can you stop drinking iced coffee, or do you have to go to jail? And I'm like, jail! Just jail. Just jail. Very much so jail. Thank you for asking. Florida woman shoots husband in testicles after he tried to take her air conditioner. The Florida woman accused of shooting her husband in the testicles is back in jail after failing to show up to court. Police said Kimberly, 35, lost her cool when her husband and his brother came to her Lake City home last year to pick up an air conditioner. All right. And then they here's the little opinion. Let's not do anything rash. An eye for an eye makes the whole world sterile. That's so true. Would I consider shooting someone over an air conditioner in Florida? Keep in mind, in Florida, we're not talking Alaska. We're not talking Canada. Or the lovely breezes of the Mediterranean. We're talking Florida. Swamp. Hot swamp. So, like, I'm not mad that she stood up for her air conditioner rights. Okay, I mean, I'm kind of mad. Never an excuse for violence. Florida woman arrested for leaving Easter eggs with food, toilet paper, and porn in mailboxes. Florida man must be proud of this Florida woman. Do your part. Charity, thy name is Florida woman. So I guess that's our last headline. She's arrested for leaving Easter eggs with food, toilet paper, and porn in mailboxes. Like, Easter eggs, lovely. Food, delicious. Toilet paper, thank you. Porn, what? So it's just, I mean, I guess that could be considered distributing porn. And I guess if you don't know who is going to view that, then you could be distributing it to minors. You could be distributing it without a license. I think she's giving it for free. So Charity, thy name is Florida woman is what the free part is. That was the comment they made. I don't know if I'm mad at this woman. I definitely don't want my little children seeing little Easter eggs and porn. That's definitely something I don't want ever in my life. Ever. As long as I live. Thank you, Florida woman. Really, I am so entertained by the real life crimes that people really do that are, not the worst in the world. Attacking someone with a chicken nugget, claiming that cocaine blew into your purse on a windy day. Thank you. So this really inspires me to do another Let Me Google That for You. That's what I'm calling this segment where we talk to my Google. Can't say it too loud. What I really want to know is, hey Google, is there a Florida woman for every Florida man?
Sorry, I don't understand.
Of course you don't. Hey Google, is there
Sorry.
Hey Google, is there a Florida man for every Florida woman?
Sorry, I don't have any information about that.
Okay, I have a better idea. Hey Google, tell me about Florida man.
According to Wikipedia, Florida man is an internet meme popularized in 2013 in which the phrase Florida man is taken from various unrelated news articles concerning people who hail from or live in Florida.
Well, that was pretty straightforward. Let's move on to some more substantial news. Now, this is the real news in real life, brought to you by the Weather Channel, actually. So let's move on to some real weird news. Your bird feeder could be making you sick. Yep, you heard him. There is an outbreak. A salmonella outbreak has sickened 19 people in 8 states. Asterix, is it salmonella or salmonella? The CDC says it may be linked to contact with wild songbirds and bird feeders. Infections have been reported in Washington, Oregon, California, Mississippi, Kentucky, Tennessee, New Hampshire, and Oklahoma. Salmonella can cause stomach cramps, diarrhea, and fever. The CDC is urging people to wash their hands after touching bird feeders and avoid hand-feeding birds. So far, 8 people have been hospitalized. No deaths have been reported. Wow, so a little fact you don't want to know about me is I love birds. Love them. Started with penguins, moved on to blue jays, and here I am, just loving every bird I can get my brain on. And it's pretty disappointing that my creatures of choice, they seem to be betraying us. I don't know how to feel about that. I guess my first go-to feeling would be, it must be our fault. I don't think we should be hand-feeding birds. Now, I am a follower of some bird talk on TikTok, and I do see a lot of people hand-feeding birds and making exciting videos, and a lot of people have a problem with that. They say it's like an unnatural way of bringing animals close and changing their instincts, and they have a problem with it. Some people think it's a wonderful relationship between nature and people, and some people get salmonella. So you do the math on that. I don't know. I think whatever's happening is our fault. I don't. As much as we should try to be more in line and in alignment with nature, I don't necessarily think that means we should be touching wild animals. Is a dog a wild animal? Used to be. Is a horse a wild animal? Some places. Some places they still are. I don't know. I don't know where to draw the line. Do you guys know where to draw the line? Hey, weirdos, Where do you draw the line on wild animals? I think an elephant is a clear wild animal, but a horse, they clearly are very domesticated, but then there are also wild horses. So what do we do now? And I don't think it's the same thing as wolves and dogs because they genetically have changed so much. Could you say the same about horses? Maybe. I don't know. Do you have any thoughts? Tell me. Go to Facebook or Instagram or Twitter and tell me. Thanks for listening. We will be back with some Suez Canal news and some more. Let me Google that for you because why not?
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Wow. Okay, there's so much I didn't know in that. I'm glad I looked that up. And the most embarrassing thing I didn't know, I was thinking in my mind that the Suez Canal was like the Panama Canal. And I literally was assuming this was in South America until this moment when I just listened to that through. Wow. So I'm just like my other friend when you say Suez Canal and I imagine Panama. Panama. And I say Antarctica and she imagines Hawaii. I don't know. So yeah, okay, that should not be my main takeaway, that I didn't know where the Suez Canal was. How did I not know? Wow. Okay, I must have just forgotten the name. There were so many tweets and memes this week, and TikToks and YouTubes. There were so many great. There is such a comedy fountain, a gold mine for comedy this week, and let's get into that. This is indiatoday.in. It's a list of memes that have come out of this tragedy. There's a picture of the boat and a tiny little bulldozer. The ship is so huge. It's unbelievably huge. And the caption says, 2 guys and a bulldozer on site to dislodge a ship stuck in the Suez Canal. And next to the ship, it looks pretty ridiculous. Along the lines of like 2 guys in a truck for your moving company. Yeah, it's not going to cut it here. All right, so Shiv Ramdas from Twitter says, if you think you're having a bad day, spare a thought for the helmsman who somehow managed to stick his giant-ass ship sideways into the GD Suez Canal and blocked it into literal gridlock and is currently costing every seafaring nation of Earth millions of dollars every hour. Yeah, this week I kept seeing everywhere on TikTok, like if someone was having a bad day or if something wasn't going their way or they were going through a breakup or work was boring, they would say, yeah, I don't feel too bad because I did not just stop 10% of global trade dead because I drove a ship wrong. I don't know. Was it low tide? What was it? When high tide came, it floated on its merry way. So I don't know. I guess that's something I should have looked into. All right, our next meme. Managed to dig out good part of the bulbous thingy. It's still stuck. Guy with a digger at Suez Canal tweets, I got a lot of things to say in my upcoming performance review meeting. Okay. And now there's a picture of rocket ships attaching themselves to the Ever Given. And it says, okay, hear me out. They could just lift up the ship with their rocket ships. Perfect. Another meme says, have you ever tried this? And it's 2 cans of WD-40, like the size of the ship, with the long red straw. Have you ever seen the long red straw at the end of the WD-40 can? So it can really get into tight crevices, and it's just wedging itself into each side of the boat with huge WD-40 cans. Okay, and so Sarah Luganbill says, I'm once again asking you for a bigger excavator. And it's a little picture of Bernie Sanders sitting next to the Ever Given. Now, some people are saying Ever Given, Evergreen. I'm pretty sure it's Ever Given, right? Because all these pictures, you see the word evergreen, evergreen, evergreen. But everywhere I look, it says Ever Given. Did they change it on the memes? Will I never know? Is it that one says Evergreen, but it's really Ever Given? Will I ever know the answer to this? I'm supposed to be a news show, but I guess I don't always have those answers. Moving on. So, Carl Sharo from Twitter says, my ambitious plan to set the boat is to push a huge cotton swab up the canal. I guess it works for ears. Oh, the logic is solid. I'm not mad. And then Kim Bosson from Twitter says, me just trying my best. And that's a picture of the tiniest bulldozer on the planet next to this huge boat. Okay, and Chaz Hutton with today's comic. We are all in our own little way that ship. And both sides of the ship on the land says procrastination. And the middle in the water says workflow. And the boat says me. Me writing a to-do list is the excavator on the side who's getting nothing done. So yeah, that rings true for me. I'm writing these to-do lists, getting nothing done, and there's a workflow, and there I am, and nothing's happening. Yeah, I think this is definitely a visual one, and I apologize, in hindsight, I apologize. All right. And then, does anyone know the Friends episode where Ross is just yelling pivot, pivot, pivot because they're moving a couch? Well, there's a picture of the Ever Given and a picture of Ross yelling pivot, and it says same energy. One of the favorite ones I saw was where they laid the Ever Given over the Austin Powers cart that he was driving, where he got it stuck, with 1 inch forward, 1 inch backwards, 1 inch forward, 1 inch backwards. And they just laid the Ever Given over his cart and made it look like he was driving the boat instead of the cart. So let's get a little more facts on this. I went to the India Express and I found Express explains the Suez Canal. So Suez Canal crisis 2021. It took 10 years to build in the mid-1800s, and one megaship blocked it in 1 day and put global trade into a tailspin. The 193-kilometer artificial canal is the shortest sea link between Asia and Europe since 1869. We already learned that. The longest canal with no locks, one of the busiest trade routes, and a flashpoint for geopolitical conflict. So before I was wondering, is it Evergreen or Ever Given? According to this, it says MV Ever Given, headed from China to the Netherlands, had run aground and gotten stuck across the canal for a week. Reason: strong wind or human technical error is being investigated. The large cargo ship weighs 2.2 lock tons. What's lock tons? 400 meters long, 59 meters wide, with 18,300 containers, and had blocked the path of 400 ships, over 400 ships. So apparently, this canal is not natural. There was a pharaoh that dug the canal in 1887 and ended, this is BC, 1887 BC, and it took until 1849 BC. And finally, built between 1859 to 69 BC, with over 1.5 million workers in Ottoman-ruled Egypt. After 2 world wars, Britain relinquished the canal authority to Egypt in 1956. It has closed 5 times in the past after Abdel Nasser's government nationalized it in 1956 for 8 years after the 1967 Arab-Israeli War. And let's see, the impact on global trade. 12% of world trade was impacted, 7% of the world's oil, and 30% of container ship traffic daily was impacted. It contributed 2% of Egypt's GDP pre-pandemic. It could cost trade $6 to $10 billion a week. The price of crude oil, goods, coffee, toilet paper, laptops, etc. will be affected. Semiconductor shortages will be in effect. More than 18,800 ships passed through the canal in 2020. So that tells you, over 400 ships just in that small amount of time. And supply chain has set back a blockade of $9.6 billion in goods daily. Well, I don't want to get any more into this. I'm rambling on and on, but what we depend so much on globalization. It's really scary. It took the pandemic for me to really see the scope of how much we depend on global trade, trucks, airplanes, people moving goods from very far away to get to my grocery store so I can eat an apple, so I can use the toilet paper, so I can have clear skin, so I can wear pants. Anything I'm doing, think of anything. So you can drink coffee, so you can have a water filter. Everything we buy at the store depends on getting things from pretty far away. This is, I think, part of why people say shop locally, stop being so dependent on this global trade. It's pretty cool to be able to access global trade, but at the same time, what if the ships stop? What if the trucks stop? So it's a fascinating, interesting, and terrifying thing to think about. Weird news. So before I leave you, let's do one final, let me Google that for you. Hey Google, tell me about think globally, act locally.
According to Wikipedia, the phrase think globally, act locally, or think global, act local has been used in various contexts, including planning, environment, education, mathematics, and business.
Well, that doesn't tell me much, but thank you, Google. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate your thanks. I love it when people find my responses useful and helpful.
What? Oh, God, you're getting sassy, Google. Thank you for listening to the GSMC Weird News Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I've been your host, Moog. Please remember to subscribe wherever you listen to your podcasts and write us a nice review if you like what you've heard. And please follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Thank you, weirdos.